Warning, incoming game over. Warning, incoming game over.
On ne commence pas. Mute. Hey everybody, Marc Dumont here, and my mic is a little too loud. Sorry about the delay. I just got back into Montreal, so we had a fun holiday season, but the trains got delayed on our way back in. So I just landed, and obviously a fantastic result for the Montreal Canadiens. The crazy part is I was in the train. I was seeing, okay, they're down 2-0. This has happened before where I've had to rush back to Montreal. This time around, I was really in a hurry because I knew there's something different happening right now with the Montreal Canadiens. You know, it feels different for the Habs. So if you can give me one more minute, I'm gonna go ahead and just pull up the chat on my phone. Sorry, again, I know I'm not as prepped as I should be, and yes, I haven't had time to shave. And I'm not even wearing pants actually, so just like a bit of a mess right now, kind of like the Golden Knights in the third period, or like that reporter from Edmonton that saw Samuel Montembeault make a great save, a political save. Okay, so for those of you that are new, this is Game Over. I am Marc Dumont. I will be hosting this episode. As per usual, you know, we do our plea. Listen, the fact that you're all here, that's enough support already, and we are really appreciative. We really do appreciate how many of you come every game. Like, it means a lot to us. If you want to go a little step further, you can check under the channel. There's all the details to how to support us, how to share. But just know, by being here, you're doing great, and we do appreciate a ton. You know, all the fantastic support from people that we keep seeing game after game after game after game. So, give me just one moment. I'm gonna load the chat up here, and here's the fun part. You're going to have to tell me what happened in the first two periods. We're going to focus on what happened in the third period, but you all have a much better handle on what happened there. I will say this, I am more happy for Kirby Dach than anyone else. Reason being, it's not the points, it's the mental health. We talked about him being fully healthy. You can never be really fully healthy until you're okay up here, and you could tell that it was very difficult on him. So just the fact that he can enter the new year on that positive note, it's fantastic for a guy like, let's not forget, he's 23 years old. He's still relatively young. These things weigh a little more heavily on younger guys. They don't have that experience to kind of get through it, or that they know they're going to get to the other side. So Kirby Dach finding his rhythm at the end of the year, absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah, hey Piano Matt. I think we've seen you before. Oh, Secret Agent Man's here too. Yeah, too much info. I know. Hey, I haven't even taken a shower. You can see it's pretty gross, but we caught a lot of walleye, delicious fish, and I got to spoil my godson for a few days, and that was a lot of fun. So I was actually over in Smiths Falls, then we went to Val-des-Monts, and then we're in Ottawa for a little bit, and then we went back to Gatineau. So we gave him a little bit of a, winter odyssey, and it was great because then all of a sudden this morning, Felix comes up to me and he's like, hey, well, he didn't say it like that. He didn't say it like with a 40-year-old French guy accent, but he said, est-ce que l'hiver est fini? Is winter over? And it wasn't a bad question because everything was green. His snowman was collapsing. So at least we had some fun while there was a little bit of snow. Piano Matt, I will tell you, salut Alexandre, comment ça va? Outrage, a beard. Yeah, it's not like we've been over this. Blonde guys should never have beards. It's gross. And Brad Pitt doesn't count. So this will be leaving, at some point. So Edmonton reporter Piano Matt will explain this. What it was that guy who confused the sinks with toilets. Just like, if he was part of a record store, he'd be various L's. Okay, do you guys know what record stores are? The record stores were brick and mortar places where you'd go in and you'd find albums alphabetically, and this guy would be various L's. I don't even want to mention his name, but he said essentially Samuel Montembeault, despite having better numbers than both Jordan Cryington and Aiden Hill, who Montembeault beat tonight, was a political assignment or whatever, or choice. And this guy constantly stirs the pot. And it's just fun to see Montembeault rise to the occasion because we know it was weighing on him before this selection. And just to see a guy that he's still getting discredited right now by Mr. Pissy Sink there. But overall, the fact of the matter is, Samuel Montembeault made something out of nothing. He was on waivers not too long ago. When the Habs claimed him, it wasn't because they thought he was good. They wanted to close out the season, have a goalie, get them a good pick. So, just tellement content pour Samuel Montembeault. You know, just to see his trajectory and the fact that he's going to represent Canada after being on waivers. Maudit que c'est beau, ça. Maudit, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Call it political, call it what you will. What it really is, it's a fantastic story. So, okay, hey Claire, how's it going, Claire? I didn't think there'd be a stream today. Yeah, well, I wasn't sure there was going to be a stream today because we were still stuck in the forest this morning. Well, I was going to say in the snow, but in the grass. I actually taught my godson to catch rabbits, which is great because that's what I would do when I was 6 years old. So you go out and you follow their tracks. You put a little collet. I don't know how to say it in French. But anyways, we had a really good time. Except for we couldn't catch rabbits anymore because their tracks were gone. So while we were looking for deer, he was looking for rabbits. And it was all around just a great time. Alexandre Christian worked in a record store for 7 years. Okay, well, there you go. So you know about the various L's. It's David Staples. His life is various L's. That's all he does. He just worst. Actually, you know what? He's a great example that if you want to be a journalist or reporter, you can do it. Anyone can do it. Ooh, Das Farkin is greetings from Cuba. You know what? I bet you, what's the temperature in Cuba? I feel like Montreal is going to be right on par with it. In Smiths Falls, it was about 9 degrees this morning. I was on in my t-shirt. So, hey Kay, how's it going, buddy? Claire worked at Sam the Record Man. Cool. When we were younger, I swear we'll talk about the game. But when we were younger, we'd come to Montreal from Ottawa, and we would go to the Archambault on, I think it was Sainte Catherine, but it had 3 levels. So I would go upstairs and play piano, and then you had what was downstairs? I forget exactly the setup, but that was always like our pilgrimage. We'd go get some Archambault. So while my brothers and sisters would get terrible music, I would focus on, the good stuff, the Beatles, and, the Led Zeppelins of the world. Whereas they go for the Paul Oakenfolds of the world. And we used to have huge debates. Which one was the better artist? That was the first time you've heard Paul Oakenfold's name in what, 10 years? Hey, how's it going, Bilal? Hey, buddy, how's it going? Looking like a gem? No, I'm looking like a dirty man that just came out of the forest. Let's be perfectly honest. It was fun, though. And what do we have here? HMV. Hey, Robert, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, you're HMV on Sainte Catherine. But so was Archambault, right? Am I not remembering that right? I'm pretty sure Archambault was there as well. So, as Alexandre mentions, nobody deserves criticism today. We won't say anything about the first period lapses. Again, I didn't see the first 2 periods, but really, I think now we're all sticking around, after 2 mediocre periods. And let's not take anything away from the Habs here. Vegas is good. They lost 1 game in the last 9 or last 10. Could be more than that. I didn't check beyond 10. It's a pretty arbitrary number, but either way, they're high flying. They're a cup destined for they won't have to go through Montreal to win the Western Conference Championship. So they're in pretty good shape. And obviously Edmonton never invests in a goalie, so maybe that's not a risk. They're another cup favorite, right? So you're looking at 2 cup favorites, I'd say, Florida and Vegas, to close out the year. And beating Tampa is just always fantastic because Nikita Kucherov is such an affable, lovable character, and it's a shame to see him sad, but giving him a few more L's is not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so 80 Fahrenheit in Cuba right now, man, and it's the good drinks, That's what I love about going. I'm not a big vacation in the Caribbean guy. I'm a go trek in the forest or go find castles in Europe, but I'm due for one of those absolute sloppy, dirty southern vacations where you really you hit that level of drinking and you don't go higher or lower, but you stick with it and you get those delicious strawberry I was gonna say margaritas, but daiquiris and all that. So Robert, hey, as he mentions, is actually joked to my mother that if Dad was still with us, he'd be impossibly smug about the vinyl resurgence. I laugh because I actually kind of missed out on most of I still have Bad on vinyl by Michael Jackson, which I got in, and this is this is worse than the Gretzky trade. I thought that Laserdisc would be the next big thing, and it was essentially like DVDs, but you could put it on, and they were gigantic. They were like huge. They were big enough that David Staples would mistake it for a sink or a toilet because he doesn't know the difference. They were these big things. They cost a ton, and they went away, faster than Beta. It was incredible. So you look up Laserdiscs if you want to see how smart I am about trends, right? So, hey, and again, for people that are just joining us, I actually missed the first few periods. We're just kind of recapping, not just tonight, the year, having a little bit of fun, and that's the vibe with these shows. We're just having fun, and my co-hosts are all of you. So for those of you, Finley mentioning the beard, it's laziness, and I really don't love. I'm always looking ginger a little bit. We all know if I go ginger, I lose my soul. No, I'm just joking. That's just okay. So Piano Matt brings up a really good point. We have Cole Caulfield with his 100th goal, and I think there were a lot of people that were worried about Caulfield because he wasn't scoring on the power play. That's one of those. You're looking for issues, I think, a little bit, because if Patrick Laine is scoring every game, it opens up, and Caulfield was getting assists. It's still healthy, but just to kind of come back on that decision, I think it was a mistake to Alex Newhook on the first line or take off Juraj Slafkovsky. But Martin St. Louis, who, and you all remember at the beginning of the year, I was kind of getting annoyed with the lack of modifications, lack of changes. He wasn't calling timeouts. His defensive strategy wasn't being absorbed by the players. I think he's done a really good job for all of that. But he's been much quicker in the uptick to realize, okay, well, let's get Slafkovsky back on the top line. And that was a great decision to put him back there, even if it meant the second line would have to go through some tough times. And they've been better. They've been a lot better recently. A lot of that is Dach finding his rhythm, and we'll talk about that. But all this to say, don't take Slafkovsky off the top line, right? Like, who else could play there right until Demidov is in the mix? And it doesn't mean he's going to dominate next year at Demidov. Well, he'll get more ice time than he's getting in the KHL probably. But for now, I don't see another place. The first line's better with Juraj Slafkovsky, and Juraj Slafkovsky's better with the first line, right? So I don't see who else you put on there. And I know people right off the bat, they were saying, oh, Laine is scoring. He goes in the first line. No, the 5-on-5 isn't quite there yet. But getting much better. And as we saw tonight, Kirby Dach with his 5th goal of the season, Laine is getting much better, 5-on-5 shifts. He's driving the play. The skating's not quite there, He's still in the Tremclad commercial. You guys remember the product CLR there? Treat it to Tremclad. Anyway, CLR, calcium, lime, and rust. He still has a little bit of the rust. It's just fun seeing Patrick Laine find his rhythm. And for those of you that don't know, he's from Tampa, which I know I just massacred the name. I apologize. And there was a group of youth hockey players. He just paid their way, got them to go to a game. Unfortunately, this is kind of mean. It was a Leafs game. But, for all intents and purposes, unless you're part of a team that has made the playoffs once in your entire existence, I think everyone will say Patrick Laine is a pretty darn good dude. And I'm happy for him. I don't think he's quite there yet in terms of if he's ready to be happy for himself. And that's normal. That's perfectly normal. He's been through a lot. But he's a good person. And I'm just glad that, we talk about things that we're trying to remove the stigma, mental health, drugs, drinking, all those things. And we talk a good game. I don't know if we're quite there yet, right? So it's just good to have a guy there that's, we're seeing that helping people back into the right place is the way to go. We saw a lot of negative reactions there, and if you avoid those bad vibes, focus on the good. Patrick Laine is a great example for everyone, absolutely everyone. You don't have to. We're all gonna fall, and you don't have to get up right away. But when you're ready, you do, and it's worth it. Invest in yourself. Okay, so do not say Hamilton bad. Why? I don't know how the Hamilton thing started, but salut, Mathieu Barrette is here. Frédéric Ouellet is here. King of the North is here. It, I have some stories that I can't talk about in Hamilton. The 90s were wild. But I do remember Magnus Nygren when he was a Habs prospect, and his reaction to, he's like, man, is this what Canada is? Hamilton, I think he got robbed, or his brother came over from Sweden, he got robbed. So but that was a pretty darn good team they had there, the Bulldogs. That was a proper team, you know. I think it's the only time they won their AHL championship since they were out of Nova Scotia, but I could be wrong on that one. Okay, so yeah, it's a music stream, as Outrage mentions. It is a music stream, absolutely. That's what I do all day long, and I just got some great speakers, some wireless headphones, JBLs. They keep a charge for 12 hours. So if anyone wants to talk about the game, bring it up. Like Robert Rice here, he's clearly wanting to talk about the game. Habs did well in the first. You know, Vegas is just a team that can punish you for a small mistake. We really do have to realize that Vegas, and I love the fact that they really go for it, right? You know, you want to take a ride by the riverboat, go down to the river. Them are crying. We're no longer talking about Kucherov. No more crying. Them acquiring Eichel. You know, even the Pacioretty deal. Like, I know it was great. That was great for the Habs, but they went for it. And there's something about that I love. I want more NHL teams to go for it. There's no award for keeping your third round picks. You know what I mean? There's no award for keeping your cap space. At the end of the year, you're not, you know, hey, congratulations, Oilers, you lost in the final, but you kept that third round pick and you didn't improve your goalie. Like, good job. I really feel like Vegas is great for this league, and I know they don't have the baggage of other teams, but just going for it is fun. And I feel like in hockey, a lot, for the longest time, the goal was to not necessarily go for it, but also don't finish just do okay, that, you know, you can kind of stick in another year. And when the Habs are ready to compete, I would love to see them make more aggressive moves. Like that, hey, they got paid to take Patrick Laine. Don't get me wrong, Jordan Harris was very good in Montreal, but that's the type of move, that's almost a Vegas move, right? Except for Vegas would have paid like 4 first-rounders for him. But yeah, I like Vegas being aggressive and, you know, just adding a little bit of spice to the NHL, because it's, you know, every year it's like, oh, the Chicago Wolf, like not even AHL, that's like a big trade, whereas the NBA, you know, 47 first-round picks get moved every third day because they're going for it. But that's the point of sports, right? Okay, so yeah, as MFM, hey, how's it going, buddy? Thank you, Vegas, for Nick Suzuki. I think I've said this before, but when I told his mom, she was like, how dare you? I wanted Cody Glass. I was like, this Suzuki guy, I don't know about this guy. Now, I'm not a prospect expert. I just buy books from like really smart people that follow, you know, like a hockeyprospect.com. I have a hard time trusting like guys that pretend they see every player in the league athletic. And, you know, I'd rather get like a team, right? I don't want just one guy, because you can't give a good opinion after seeing a player for 10 seconds. There's too many players to really watch them all. So I really love Hockey Prospect. They give you good information. And they're the reason I was like, oh yeah, Cody Glass. It has to be Cody Glass. And Bergevin wanted Cody Glass too. So when I told Nick Suzuki's mom about that, she stopped bringing me dip from Ontario, because she used to bring me up hell of a good dip. So, and it was fair. That's a fair deal. What is with Marks and Glass? Yeah, I don't know. Cody Glass was am I the only one that didn't really think Nick Suzuki was the player they're going to get? And don't forget, during that weekend, Max Pacioretty, there was a trade in place to go to City of Angels, Los Angeles. So if he hadn't nixed that, if Pacioretty hadn't nixed it, Nick Suzuki doesn't become the youngest captain in the history of the Canadiens. You know? So that's pretty good. Yeah, as Robert mentions, 100% with you on Vegas, Mark. Not all their moves work, but they have hardware to... that's the hardware part. Everyone's talking about, they lost their picks. Chip. They got a chip, you know? Like, that's... They got their ring. Can't take that away. That's freaking... You are secretly Caden Gooley. Which one? Why is King of the North Caden Gooley? Okay. Did I miss you talking about my new favorite, Alex Carrier? Okay, that's why Kay was saying it. What a trade. Kent Hughes, you magnificent bald son of a bitch. That was great. That was like to the point that I wanted, when I did my first analysis for Carrier, I looked at the numbers and like, écoute, là, c'est trop bon. Like, this is unreal. This is unreal how and you've noticed the Habs been playing much better. It's first of all, Martin St. Louis gets a stabilizing presence on the back end, which, all due respect to Justin Barron, Nova Scotia, I love you. Please allow me to go deep sea fishing there next year. You know, he was like Mr. Magoo in the defensive zone, right? He was really good offensively, like really good, but he was he's constantly lost in his own zone. And just going from a guy who made questionable decisions to a guy who's just such a strong defensive player. That's what Martin St. Louis needed. That's what Kaiden Guhle needed. So that's why Kay was mentioning it. Kaiden Guhle not having to cover for a defensive partner in this economy, it's just, and on the second pairing as well, right? Like that's where you want your guy. That Kaiden Guhle's not necessarily ready for the first pairing, but you want him to get solid reps in the second pairing with a good partner, so that when the time comes, you boost that ice time. I do feel like it's kind of a 1-2, like 1A, 1B situation with the pairings, but Kaiden Guhle doesn't have to cover for someone, and he's playing on his natural side. Like, I know that sounds normal. People be like, what's the big deal here? But Kaiden Guhle's never had that. Let's remember, Kaiden Guhle was a baptism by fire. He was thrown to the wall. He was covered in barbecue sauce and thrown to the wolves. Chalet sauce. Chalet barbecue. You know what? I'm gonna Uber some chalet barbecue while we're doing this. So he was getting absolutely murdered in the first couple of years, and playing on his offside, he was getting hit a lot because it takes longer to get. You're on your backhand. So when you go to retrieve that puck, you're showing numbers, right? And he was getting injured a lot because of it. So now, if the Habs really want him to be that first pairing, this was the move they need to make. And Kent Hughes, maudit man, you turned a mistake, and it was. Let's be honest. The Baron for Lehkonen, it was a good idea, but it was a mistake. It didn't turn out. They wanted Baron to be playing in the NHL by now. That's fine. Mistakes happen. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying. You're not living, right? So just the fact of the matter that he recouped on his mistake and got Alexandre Carrier, like, are you kidding me? Beautiful. Beautiful. Exactly what the Habs needed. And it was kind of a step away from Hughes because he likes his big, tall defenseman. Have you noticed? Like, only tall guys may apply. Alex Carrier is probably the strongest, presence, and 5'11". But at the same time, 5'11 is not that. Like, we got to get away from the idea that like Crosby's 5'11". Suzuki's 5'11". He's got oak trees for legs. But anyways, Carrier is a really good example when hockey smarts and the right setting can make a player better despite not having the natural advantages of being tall or having a longer wingspan. And we're seeing right away, like, he fit into the system. Boom, boom, boom. Like, this should be the grace period. Alex Carrier was allowed to have 3 weeks of garbage, but right away producing, like right away. And it's just fantastic for everyone. And it's great for the Matheson-Hudson combo. I don't love what I'm seeing from Xhekaj and Savard, mais écoute, cheval donné, on ne regarde pas la bride. You don't look a gift horse in the mouth. That'll follow. Everything will fall into place at some point. And Carrier being there, even though I love our Grand-Papa Savard, allows you to trade Savard for a much higher than he would normally go in terms of value because he's a right-handed defenseman, he's a veteran, and teams will still go out and pay for that. So Kent Hughes turned a negative into a positive in the biggest way possible. Like, it's absolutely a magnificent move by Kent Hughes, and I think Jeff Gordon too. I think out of both of them, I really think that Jeff Gordon's the one that like kind of pushes the envelope to get a little more aggressive. We saw it with the Mishkov thing at the draft, but either way, I can't think of a better recoup. Can you think of a better trade that you got, that they turned around and did a recoup on it? Because that was just so good. That was just really, really good. Okay. So we're going to go back to the chat here. Yeah, as Alexandre Christian says, when we got him, I'm predisposed to liking an Alexandre C. Yeah, fair enough. I like that. Piano Matt mentions he was going back to when I was talking about Vegas. If you wait too long, your best players will ask for too much and move on. Maple Leafs are at risk of this. Capitals almost were too. True, but at the same time, the Capitals are a really good example of, like, I would have not have touched the Leafs last year. I think they got a little slower and a little worse, but whatever. It took the Capitals with the best goal scorer in NHL history, and I'm saying it now. It doesn't, like, excuse la, but, like, Ovechkin wasn't scoring from 90 feet out on a clapper that never left the ice. And Wayne Gretzky was a very good player. Do not get me wrong, but he was just a superior athlete at the time where the sport hasn't caught up. Ovechkin's beating much better goalies. Like, not to denigrate Mike Liut or the Bob Essenzas or the Peter Ings of the 80s, but like, their pads by the third period would weigh 400 pounds. They weren't going down. You know, those brown pads, they'd absorb so much water. They weren't going to go down for a save. No, you can score, Gretzky. I will stay as small as I can and allow you to score. Like, not even trying. So Ovechkin, it took, 12 years, 13, 15 years for them to win a cup? It's so hard to win a Stanley Cup. It is so hard. Even with the best team, you might, like, the Montreal Canadiens, what was it? The top team ever was Detroit in the, like, modern era, right? They got bounced in the first round that year in when they had 120 some. Boston set the record. They got bounced in the first round. C'est tellement difficile. It's so hard to win a Stanley Cup. So I think you have to find that balance between really, reloading and eventually realizing it's not working. Like, if you're the Ottawa Senators, I think you may, and they've gone on a nice little run, so hopefully it works out well. And everyone knows I'm an Ottawa native. There's some really aggressive fans online I'm not a huge fan of, but I really do want Ottawa to do well. But if they didn't do well this year, I think you were at that point you realize, okay, maybe we try some different things. But so you have to find that balance, and the Habs aren't even close to that point yet. But, I get the feeling that some people are going to start talking about playoffs, and I don't want to talk about playoffs, but man, this is just a great way to go into the new year, right? Like, from the beginning of the season where everything just went absolutely, haywire, to now, it's been just such a development, and you're seeing Martin St. Louis smile on the bench. That's crazy to me. Martin St. Louis doesn't smile very often, except for when he worked for the Habs. By the way, he walks over with his backpack because he's not too far. So if you want an autograph, you go down to I forget the name of the street, Saint Antoine or whatever, and he'll walk across, and as the guys come in for the garage and the fans, he'll just walk and you can talk to him. He smiles with the fans, right? But he's all business in the bench, and now we saw him smile with him and Kirby Dach. They're super happy. I like that. I like that because for the first time ever, he's got a fully healthy team, and he doesn't have, like, the equivalent of 7 barn cats on defense, because that's what he's had for the last few years, right? Just chaos, pure chaos. Within that chaos, there was some beauty, there's some kittens coming out of here and there, but a lot of chaos. So I'm happy for Martin St. Louis. It's just happy. And don't forget, he had that scare with his kid. Like, it's just good to see Martin St. Louis do good. Let's put it that way. Oh, chaos, pure chaos. I don't need to go that loud on the stream here. Okay, so let's go back and see what else we're talking about. Oh, if you want to like the stream, if you want to share it, go ahead. We love you for it. But just to recap how we started, just all of you being here, that's great support. The fact that you're watching right now, merci. On vous remercie. And also, I keep promising the French episode. I don't know if you guys are noticing, I'm sort of just doing it on my own, because when I'm tired, my brain, I can't do the English side. C'est toujours en français. And so slowly but surely, I'm bringing the episodes like 5% French, 10% français, 15% French, see? 20% français, etc. Secret Agent Man mentions here, Matheson for Petrie was a recoup. Yep. And I'm glad. I feel like people have calmed down a little on the whole Matheson thing, right? It was so Montreal that we eat our own. That's what we do in Montreal. But just that, like, Lane Hudson was getting a ton of ice time, and people just wanted to trample on Matheson's corpse just to get him an extra minute. And now Matheson's playing on his offside. Hudson's playing, he's getting good minutes alongside Matheson. Great, that's fantastic. Because this may not resonate with a lot of people, but the fact of the matter is that he was a francophone. Like, he can speak French. He's not a French Canadian in that sense, because it's but he's a francophone, and there aren't many good francophones left in the NHL. Let's be perfectly honest. It's unfortunate, and it goes well beyond. There's I don't want to talk about what's happening with Hockey Quebec, but there are issues. He's a francophone from Montreal. How many players in the NHL are from Montreal? Il n'y en a pas beaucoup. It's really, like, we don't produce a ton here. It's around the island, sure, but from the island. And he's good, and he wanted to play here. maudit, man, comme grand chelem, là, tu sais, that to me is the Habs Grand Slam, because as much as I want more francophones, if they're not good, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? Like, so he has all the added bonus, and it was just great to see it. And also, I don't know why, like Sarah Sivian, if you're watching, Mike Matheson deserves to be in your style ratings because he's got that proper tailored suit. I know everyone goes for the Jack Eye. He looks like he's Wyatt Earp from, all from Tombstone, but Mike Matheson's got the style, So I'm just happy. I'm just happy that Matheson's doing well. Did we trade Evans? Did we wait to trade Evans? Mentions Secret Agent Man. No goals today. What's the deal with Jake Evans? I don't want to be negative. I don't, because this is just so fun. We're going through the New Year's, and the only negative on this stream right now is going to be this disgusting thing right here on my face. I am happy for Jake Evans. That's all I want to take out of this. Like, il y a des raisons. There's reasons to not re-sign him. There's reasons to re-sign him. But out of all of this, Jake Evans is the big winner. And he worked so hard to make it to the NHL. Like, incredibly hard. I don't know if I should mention this. There's this practice incident with with the ex-coach in Laval, where I felt so bad for I almost made a big deal out of it, but it kind of, it's kind of weird that I'm even talking about, because you guys are like, wow, don't give me more details. But let's just put it this way. Jake Evans went through a lot, and it wasn't always fun, and he worked through it. And don't forget, this is a guy that had to wait for 227 people were drafted before him, or two, whatever it was. He was the third last or the fourth last. This is after a great career for Notre Dame. So once he got to the NHL, he had to work even harder to stay there, because we all know fourth liners come and go, and he's the only player out of the last 10,000 years to be developed by the Canadiens, right? Like, I always feel like we're a little harsh towards Bergevin. I know it went terrible at the end. He wasn't the worst GM. Like, he actually left the Habs in reasonable shape on his way out. I've seen much worse franchises, the Dvorak thing, that was panicking. But that being said, Jake Evans is the only guy that came from that group, right? From that management group. Like, you could say Gallagher, but he was really in the AHL because of the lockout. Jake Evans was the chosen one. He's the one that got through all the garbage, all the bad coaching, and actually made it to the NHL. And that's what the Habs need more of, right? So guys like Owen Beck and Philippe Méchard hopefully will make it to that level. But, like, Evans is the only one that emerged from a sea of, like, mediocrity there, right? So and there was no development plan in place. I asked Francis Bouillon there, and he said, legit, he's like, I don't know if I want to say this, but we had no development plan. Like, there was no plan. So Jake Evans rose above it, despite a lack of a plan, and that's not bad at all. I've been Team Evans for a year. Yeah. The thing is, I won't ever fault him for wanting to move on if he wants to move on. If a team says we'll get you on the third line, we'll pay you $4 million. That would be risky for that. Like, that's actually a landmine of a contract for Kent Hughes, right? So if you can get a first round pick of a guy that was a 7th round pick, and Jake Evans makes more money and better ice time elsewhere, everybody wins, right? I just say, like, whatever he picks, if Jake Evans can make $5 million somewhere, good luck, buddy. Like, I hope you make it, and I hope everything just goes well. I don't care about the rest. I'm just so happy that for once, a guy that deserves a big old raise, the stars are aligning. Right? So 30% shooting percentage, be damned. Yeah, it's never going to happen again, but Jake Evans is having a great year at the perfect time, and he will never, ever again get a chance to capitalize on free agency, right? Like, to this point, everything is just going so perfectly. He's going to want to sign a long-term rich contract, 3-4 million, and it might be out of Montreal's range, but the winner in all this is Jake Evans, and we get to be happy for that. Remily showed up. Hey, how's it going, buddy? I'm at a point. I'm hoping Armia resigns for like $2 million and Evans for 3.5. It's funny because we talked about how much players should take, not necessarily how much they're offered. We would all listen. If I'm Jake Evans, no offense, Habs, though, but I'm going to the highest bidder that it gives me the most consistency, that I can set up my family for the rest of my life. That gives me the longest contract. And I'm sure he wants to play for the Habs, but emotions aside, you secure the bag, as the youth say. If he goes to 5, though, the risk is that he becomes that Armia player, that Josh Anderson, where you're like, hey man, if he was, or that Carl Osner was making half the money, they'd be good value. So again, I won't fault him for going to 5, but that is something that he does have to consider, right? Is am I going to actually go from really underrated to overvalued because of that one deal? And you kind of have to weigh those options. Like Carl Osner kind of admitted to me at the end, he's like, I regret signing that contract. He's like, I'd be in the NHL right now for $2 million a year, and I wouldn't have to explain to my kids why I'm going to Laval. Like that part, I was like, oh, that got me there with the kids explaining. Anyways, Carl Osner was a good guy too, and he was there when Jake Evans was in the locker room, and he was the best veteran from them all. But all this to say, there's so many risks involved, but I don't want to think about him right now. Good for Jake Evans. Oh, hey, David. How's it going, buddy? Had to leave during the second intermission, then return in the last 2 minutes of the game. That's the opposite of me. I was on a train from Smiths Falls to Ottawa and then Ottawa to Montreal. I missed almost all of it, except for I came in for the beautiful end. And like I was saying at the beginning of the show, I've done this before, the like cannonball run from Ontario to make it back. And if the Habs were down 2-0 in the first period, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. It doesn't matter because no one's going to watch anymore. The Habs aren't going to come back. You got the sense that we're going to come back. Like they're playing well from what I could gather from social media and Via Rail's terrible Wi-Fi. I love Via Rail actually, but the Wi-Fi, potentiel dans la poubelle. Okay, we're going to jump straight to the third period. And Andrew, if you're watching, I'm sorry, buddy. Probably like, this isn't the most structured show, but I'm having fun with all of you. If you want to like the stream, share, we really appreciate it. We want you to watch. Also, there's a fantastic show, Hyperdrive or Overdrive. Sorry, I am so tired right now. I'll go back and is it Hyper? It's over. Anyways, Maxime Van Hout and Daphne Malbeuf. I am very tired. Are hosting it, and I'm just massacring it right now. So I actually forget everything I said. I'll post it in the description when the show is done. But we do appreciate all the support. We genuinely do. The fact that you're watching right now, that's a ton of support for us. We really do. And I know it must get annoying to hear the click, like, and share. If you want to do that, great. But you being here with us, with me, like the fantastic part is that, you know, you're part of the show already. Like I was confident going into it. I was texting with Andrew, who's taking a flight right now from Alberta. And I was like, man, I'm not too worried. I'm just going to go in there and they're going to help me out like they do every time. So I really do genuinely appreciate all of you. Is Bernardo here? Did he accuse me of hating Josh Anderson yet? Hold on. Let's go. Oh, I don't. What's going on, man? Bernardo, why haven't you accused me of hating Josh Anderson? But what Bernardo says is, I swear to God, if they lose to Chicago, they will. They will, because that's a trap game, right? Like that's an absolute. Also, did everyone see their c'est rendu plate, là. I know that Chicago plays the outdoor game every year, but like it's an event, right? Like have fun with it. They just came in like classic. Like I was dressed better than them, right? It just felt kind of boring from the NHL to, but I mean, these are also hockey players where, do you ever notice that some of the Twitter accounts, they'll be like, oh, look at this style. And it's a guy in a t-shirt. Like, it's like, okay, wow, crazy. For hockey, like, oh yeah, he's got a white t-shirt, Hanes his way. Like, damn, look at him wearing jeans and a t-shirt. So I guess that's kind of what hockey is. All right, we're going to get back to the chat here. Claire mentions, I hope he gets everything he wants. Thank you. But I know you're talking about Jake Evans. I want to see him retire on this team, says Outrage. Yeah, that because Jake Evans is one of the few that, again, merged out of the sea of garbage that was that, I guess you could technically say, like, Udon was the other guy that maybe, yeah, that's how bad it was. Yeah, he deserves it. He just deserves it. That's the key there. What else do we have here? King of the North. I'm not even vetting these first, so that's how much I trust all of you. I'm just reading them alive, which is a bit sketchy. King of the North says, when your job is contact sport, you need to get as much as much money out of your body as you can. Yes, that's the other thing. You are an expiring asset, and there are so many players that, and it's a little sad, but first of all, they get swindled a ton. Even like the guys that are literally rocket scientists, Joey Juno, for example, he was a friend of the family, and he got swindled out of his money for, he always talk about these like real estate deals, and it could be tomorrow, game over, man. That's it for your career. Like, I always want to see guys like Connor McDavid take a 1-year max. Like, I think Connor McDavid should, what's the max? 20%, 25%? Who cares? He should be making that, because statistically speaking, he's worth more than that. But if it's a, if the broken leg situation happens, then you lose your entire career, right? So I want to see guys bet on themselves, but at the same time, as King, that's a really good point by King of the North there. You are an expiring asset, and the let me know, and I'll answer it in about 10 seconds. But tell me right now in the chat what you think the peak is in the NHL for players. Because when I was younger, we were saying 30 to 35, but that was kind of just like, putting your thumb in the air and kind of, I was gonna say fingering the air, which that would have sounded really bad, but anyways. So then we saw, we thought it was going down a little bit. I bet you right now, if I look in the chat, we're gonna see people say about 28, right? Mika, Blake McCurdy, either way, our friend from Nova Scotia, who's probably the smartest guy in hockey. Like, he does all his own work. He doesn't rely on anyone else's data, and he's humble about it, and he doesn't want to work for hockey teams. He's kind of shut them down. He's doing it the right way, and God bless him, because the right way is tough. But he did a study. It's closer 23 to 25. Closer to 23 is the prime for most players. So as much as, you want to keep Evans and you want to keep at 28, he's kind of at the end, like, and the decline is Thelma and Louise-ish there. You know what I mean? So there is a risk there. And 23 years old, 23 to 25 is usually the peak for players. Goalie's a little longer, but hey, c'est jeune ça, c'est jeune dans sa perlipopette ça. So okay, see 20. Yeah, we're saying okay, you guys are pretty good. 29, 31. So yeah, but it's much younger. Like, much younger, and it's a little frustrating too now, as like we're most of us are olds. We're like, we got the rest of our lives ahead of us, and then this guy comes out at 28, and they're like, oh, Methuselah is playing on the fourth line. Hyperdrive Hockey, yes, thank you. Oh my god, I'm so tired that I actually forgot the title. I that was the worst promo I've ever attempted, and emphasis on attempted. Okay, for the outdoor game, as Kay mentions. That was one of the things that I brought up when I was working for the Habs. I was going to be super catty there, super bitchy. I'm going to avoid that. What I actually always thought it'd be cool having a Montreal. Like, you build up a rink, but the Habs have been pushing for an outdoor game for a long, long, long time, and there's nowhere to do it. That's it. There's no good place in Montreal to do it. You could do the Big O, but it's terrible, like, in terms of just comfort and just the views. You're so far away. They've been pushing in the NHL would love to give the Habs an outdoor game, but y a pas de place. That's the issue. So that's why they're talking a lot about going to Paris, doing a game there. There's also no outdoor rinks in Paris, but there's a few, like they have the Olympics. They redid some of the arenas to so you can play hockey in Paris. There's just nowhere to go, unfortunately, in Montreal for outdoor games. Like, I'm sure right now someone's in the chat saying, baby, there's this place, but it has to be marquee, right? For Montreal, like, where I think would be really nice, but again, I don't know if this is, but McGill Stadium, where the Alouettes play, it's McGill, right? Maudit, je suis fatigué, moi. En tout cas, you have the view of the fleuve, you have the bridge, it's beautiful. There's a couple, like, Cold War, Soviet era looking buildings that aren't too nice, but it's the nicest view when you go to watch Les Alouettes. I really strongly suggest people going to watch Les Alouettes, because, like, you get that beautiful view. And I went to a few of those games when the Athletic, before they gutted absolutely everyone in Montreal, and it was the best view. I wanted to almost start covering the CFL at all times. Okay, let's get back to the chat here. And again, thank you so much for keeping this going for me. I appreciate all of you. We're gonna close it up pretty soon, I think. I don't have plans tonight. My plan is to go to bed quite early, because I realize camping, I can't do camping anymore because my back, like, I thought it was unbreakable, but things are breaking a little bit everywhere. So I was sleeping on the ground we did winter camping though, like literally like outside. You're doing an A-frame, and then a sarcophagi, I suppose, because we had several of them. But it was really wet, and there were a lot of coyotes around. So I've never, like, coyotes don't bother me, because usually, I'm a pretty big guy. I've got my dog there, and I got my godson. They're not going to come make noise. We got the fire roaring. Coyotes are, like, skittish. But there are so many damn coyotes out there right now that they're getting a little more braver. So we actually left the winter camping early, and brought them. And it was wet, and we brought them, on a mangé des guimauves, and we had our hot chocolate by the fire. It was a really, really great time. Okay, so they're saying Saint-Jérôme Patinoire. See, I don't even know. That's a good one, Robert. I like that. I won't mention it because I'd like to complain about gambling ads, but I can't blame the gambling industry. Why is hockey unsponsorable? You know what I mean? Why is it the only industry that's going to sponsor now is gambling? It's the people that came before us that essentially absolutely just destroyed the industry, massacred the sports journalism industry. And it wasn't the journalists either. It was, anyways, we don't want to get into that, but there's a reason gambling companies are the only ones that, and they hit you over the head with it. And it kind of sucks too, because you want to talk about health, that's an addiction for a lot of people as well. But I think it says more about hockey than it does about the gambling platforms. You know what I mean? Okay, I have never seen the Saint-Jérôme Patinoire outdoor. I've never seen that. I don't even know. I can actually check it out. But oh yeah, coyotes, secret agent man, like actual coyotes. Yeah, they're pretty great. Okay, and then we say, I think we're almost done here. All of you have been doing great. And thank you, Claire. Thank you, Robert. Outrage K, MFM, Secret Agent Man, King of the North. Who else did we had? Alexandre Christian was here. Bernardo, probably bringing up Josh Anderson. Kind of thinking you might be Josh Anderson by now. And if so, where do you get your shampoo? Because you have some glorious, beautiful hair. And hey, I think Josh Anderson's entering the new year with much better mental health as well. And I know I bring it up almost every show, but I'm glad that Liney is here so we can have that conversation, how important it is to we get to still criticize them. We get to still do proper analysis, but it almost reaches the point of cruel at some times. So I'm just glad that we can have the mental health conversation, because mental health is just health, point à la ligne, And I will say this, the Montreal Canadiens don't have a great history when it comes down to that. Now, I don't want to get into it because I'm actually getting angry thinking about my time there. But this is them finally taking a step into, instead of just talking about it, they're actually, promoting it. They're talking about it on their website for, actual mental health instead of just treating their employees like, anyway, I won't finish that sentence. I'm so close to, you can tell when I'm tired, eh? I'm like, yay, super happy. Oh, getting negative. Yay, super. I believe they call that polar opposites. Before we close out the chat, there's a few things. Hey, Wendy. Salut, Wendy Hardy. Comment ça va? J'ai découvert Game Over de la podcast Locked on Canadiens. Oh oui, avec Laura et... it's not Scott anymore, it's Ian. Et je suis enthousiaste à regarder Game Over. Match aussi, pardon-moi, pour mon français. No, that was great. That was fantastic. We will always appreciate when people try to speak French. Honestly, it's just... And it's very difficult. That's the other part. It's very difficult to learn as an adult. Here's the best way to learn French. Be born in a French family. It works every time. Okay, so absolutely. I genuinely do appreciate it. And I want to do a French show. I was explaining to one of the stories I wanted to write for The Athletic back in the day, and I pitched it to Marc-Antoine after, was, even after I was gone, was Pierre Hood is the Seinfeld of our generation, in the sense that when immigrants would come to the States, they watch Seinfeld to learn English. Same thing here. You come here and you learn French via Pierre Hood, and that goes beyond him being, okay, first of all, class act. And he's not contrived, doesn't act better than anyone, genuinely good person. He actually prefers F1, believe it or not. That's how I started hearing him. Anyways, but he has more than just an impact in that he has a cultural impact beyond anything that any other announcer in the league does. So yeah, I'm always fascinated by the amount of people that he helped integrate into the culture. Just get that little, that feeling of having you have a little inside knowledge about what people love here. And it takes time to adapt to a new country. But if you're in there and you can start talking about the oudisme, the brouhahas and the l'aveuglette, it gets you a little bit quicker and you feel a little more comfortable. And for that, Pierre Hood is absolutely, he's the best leader. He's the best of us. And in a province where we don't always take it the right way, we tend to, instead of promoting our beautiful language, c'est tellement beau le français, là, we tend to kind of just insult other languages. He is doing a better job than the entire government combined to promote this beautiful language. That's my take on it. Okay, so we're gonna head out now, and oh, there you go. Robert Weiss is saying, "Glad to pop in for a full show. Feels like weeks since you." Yeah, well, feels like weeks for me too. But I'll be doing a little bit more in the new year. Kay will be. Kay, am I doing the next show? Who's doing the next show? When's the next game? Kay, I believe it'll probably be Kay, but it'll be me and her, or her and I will be her and myself. We'll be doing most of the shows in the new year. Oh, Alexandre Christian mentioned Ma Parole. Yes, that's another good one from. And he used to say Rififi, but I don't think he says Rififi as much as it used to. Kind of like Dean Brown used to say Scramble. He doesn't say Scramble anymore. Yeah, as Outrage mentions, French is hard. It genuinely is. It genuinely is. Now, it's a beautiful language. It's just gorgeous. And once you start to understand how it works, it makes it's even more enjoyable to use, than English. But I always say le français s'apprend, l'anglais s'attrape. So you catch English, but you got to learn French. That's kind of the difference there. All right, and we have try regular people French instead of God French. Okay, well here's the great part. I believe, I don't know who it would be. It's like there's like a council of languages, I guess. I don't know. And I have someone that's at my door. 10 minutes. Oh, that was 6 minutes ago. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap up here. But they just added Québécois essentially to I don't know. I guess it's just some big directory who decides on languages. And it's funny because the government always wanted us to speak Français de France, let's say pure, clean. But that languages evolve. And the fact that French is still being spoken in Quebec, even though we're taking some from English, some from everywhere else, that is a language evolving. That's how languages survive. If you try to keep it to where Napoleon, like how he was speaking it, you will lose the next generation. So the fact that it got recognized as a language was fantastic because we say, good, this is how society and languages evolve. Okay, I believe we are, who wins tonight? Oh yeah, it's the World Juniors, eh? I haven't watched almost any of them, but at one point I want to see Canada get punished for not taking the best players. I know that sounds super shitty, but man, Hockey Canada, well, beyond just kind of what happened the last few years, obviously it was disgusting, but they have a long history, like Rob Zomner, Sidney Crosby gets a +1, Gretzky on the bench. They have a long history of terrible decisions, and they get out of it because they're supremely talented, the players, but yeah, just absolutely. Right now, Oliver Bunk's the power play specialist, and he's like, I don't really do this. And then Parek's at home kind of just I feel like I could be doing something right now. So yeah, anyways, obviously I hope Canada wins, but I don't mind seeing them tumble a little bit if it's to rearrange things. And obviously that win the other day, every time people criticize having a lot of teams in there, you say, look, in Latvia, come on, that is what sports are all about. Okay, so we're going to, apparently, hey Jake, how's it going, buddy? Living in Ontario, been watching RDS for the last 4 years. Yeah, love me some Pierre as well. And I will say this, I'm not the biggest, I know everyone loves Marc Dumont, not so much. I don't like the fact that he thinks that every headshot is clean. Anyways, but I really like Bruno Gervais. I think that he was absolute, has the chops to be elite like Pierre Hood. Happy New Year's for sorry, I am leaving someone outside right now, but they're fine though. She'll be okay. Happy New Year's to everyone. Do your resolution or not. I would like to mention one of the things that we had to do on our way out from Ontario. We was with a couple friends. We have to go visit a grave of a friend, and I don't want to get into too much, but he kind of he reached for the secret too soon. He cried for the moon, let's just put it that way. And have fun. I always say everything in moderation, including moderation. I didn't say that. Someone else came up with it, But have fun. And remember that you're allowed to have fun and it's okay to go a little wild once in a while. But we always have to reel it in later. That's one of the things I had the hardest time doing in my life. I was a party guy. I love partying all the time. And a really hard time stopping it. But, a lot of these things, when we get into party mode, we tend to kind of punish ourselves or we tend to kind of hide it. Listen, if you're having issues with anything like that, again, you can message me on Twitter, but just take care of yourself. That's all I want. I want all of you to take care of yourselves. Do not drink and drive. I will slap you. I will double slap you. Backhand to go get myself a big unity ring. Unity! But have fun out there. Thank you for all the support. Je vous aime toutes. Sérieux, j'apprécie vraiment le support. I will see you all in the New Year's, and we'll be talking about a Montreal Canadiens team that's, 1 point out of the playoffs? That's not bad at all. Thanks again, everybody. I really, really do have all the love in the world for all of you. If you want to like the stream, do it. If you don't, that's fine too. But always make sure to invest in yourself. It's the best investment you will ever make in your entire life, because you